Once upon a time, nestled in a lush, green valley, lived an old farmer named Silas. He wasn't just any farmer. Silas had a secret, a very peculiar one. And the only one who seemed to suspect anything was a sly ginger cat named Marmalade. Marmalade wasn't your typical farm cat. While the other cats chased mice or napped in sunbeams, Marmalade spent his days watching Silas. He noticed how the old farmer would hum a strange, jaunty tune every morning, and how his eyes would twinkle with a hidden mischief. One sunny afternoon, Silas headed out to his barn, a worn leather satchel slung over his shoulder. Marmalade, ever the curious observer, decided today was the day he'd uncover the farmer's secret. He crept silently behind, his paws making no sound on the dusty path. Inside the barn, the air was thick with the scent of hay and old wood. Silas walked past the sleeping cows and the clucking chickens, heading towards a forgotten corner shrouded in shadows. He stopped before a large, unassuming haystack. Marmalade watched from behind a stack of wooden crates, his green eyes wide with anticipation. Silas looked around as if to make sure no one was watching. Then, with a little grunt, he pushed the haystack aside, and there it was. Not a hidden stash of gold or a secret passage, but a small wooden door set into the barn floor. It was painted bright blue, a stark contrast to the rustic surroundings. The old farmer pulled a small, ornate key from his pocket, unlocked the door, and disappeared down a set of stairs. Marmalade's heart pounded with excitement. This was it. He waited a moment, then scurried over to the open hatch. He peered down into the darkness. A warm, golden light flickered from below, and the sound of cheerful chatter and clinking glasses drifted up. It smelled wonderful, like fresh bread, sweet honey, and something else. Something magical. Taking a deep breath, Marmalade descended the creaky wooden steps. What he found at the bottom left him utterly speechless. He wasn't in a dusty cellar. He was in a cozy, bustling underground cafe. Tiny tables with checkered cloths were filled with all sorts of woodland creatures. A badger in a tweed waistcoat was reading a newspaper. A family of rabbits was sharing a giant carrot cake, and a wise old owl was sipping tea from a delicate porcelain cup. The walls were lined with books, and fairy lights twinkled from the low, root-covered ceiling. And there, behind the counter, was Silas. But he wasn't wearing his farmer's overalls. He had on a crisp white apron and a chef's hat, perched jauntily on his head. He was serving tiny mugs of what looked like steaming milk to a pair of squirrels. "Welcome, little friend," a gentle voice said. Marmalade turned to see a mother fox smiling at him, her kits tumbling playfully at her feet. "First time at the Root Cellar Cafe?" Marmalade could only nod, his jaw still agape. So this was the farmer's secret. Not a treasure hoard, but a hidden sanctuary for the animals of the valley. A place where they could gather, share stories, and enjoy Silas's delightful cooking. Silas finally spotted Marmalade standing by the stairs, a look of pure astonishment on his face. The old farmer chuckled, a warm, hearty sound that echoed through the cafe. "Well, well, look what the cat dragged in," Silas said with a wink. "I had a feeling you'd find your way down here eventually, you clever boy. You're too nosy for your own good." He beckoned Marmalade over. "Don't just stand there. The cream is fresh, and the salmon pâté is on the house for my most persistent detective." Marmalade trotted over to the counter, hopping onto a stool. Silas placed a small saucer in front of him, filled with the most delicious-smelling cream he had ever encountered. As he lapped it up, he looked around at the happy, chattering community. The badger, whose name he learned was Barnaby, was a historian, regaling the table with tales of the valley's past. The owl, Professor Hoot, was a scholar who could answer any question you threw at him. The rabbits were the cafe's official taste testers for all new desserts. Marmalade realized this wasn't just a cafe, it was a family. And Silas was the heart of it all. He had created this space out of pure kindness, a secret kept not for selfish gain, but to provide a safe haven for his animal friends. Over the next few weeks, Marmalade became a regular at the Root Cellar Cafe. He was no longer just an observer. He was a part of the secret. He learned that Silas used ingredients from his farm to create special menus for his patrons. There were acorn muffins for the squirrels, berry tarts for the birds, and a special clover salad for the rabbits. Marmalade even got a job. With his sly nature and sharp eyes, he became the cafe's official lookout. He'd sit by the barn entrance, pretending to be a lazy, sleeping cat. But if any humans or unfamiliar dangers approached, he'd give a specific meow, a secret signal that told Silas to close the blue door and hide all traces of the magical cafe. One evening, a fierce storm rolled through the valley. Thunder boomed, and rain lashed against the barn. The animals were scared, huddling together in the cafe. The lights flickered, and a gust of wind blew the blue door shut with a loud bang. The latch broke. They were trapped. Panic began to spread. The little field mice squeaked in fear, and the badger's whiskers drooped with worry. But Silas remained calm. Now, everyone," he said in a soothing voice. "No need to fret. We're safe and warm down here. We have plenty of food and good company. The storm will pass." Marmalade, however, knew they couldn't stay down there forever. He looked at the broken latch, then at the concerned faces around him. He had to do something. He remembered a small, forgotten vent on the far side of the cafe, hidden behind a tapestry of a great oak tree. He'd explored it once out of curiosity. It was a tight squeeze, but it led outside. He tugged on Silas's apron, meowing insistently and gesturing with his head towards the tapestry. Silas, understanding the cat's intelligence, followed him. "Of course," the farmer exclaimed when Marmalade revealed the vent. "The old air duct. Marmalade, you're a genius." The vent was too small for Silas or any of the larger animals, but for a sly, slender cat, it was perfect. "I can get through," Marmalade seemed to say with a determined look. "I can go get help." Silas knelt down. "Be careful, my friend," he whispered, stroking Marmalade's back. "The storm is still raging." With a final reassuring meow, Marmalade squeezed into the narrow duct. It was dark and dusty, and the sound of the wind howled around him. He crawled and wriggled his way through the metal tunnel, driven by the thought of his friends trapped below. He finally emerged outside, soaked and shivering, but triumphant. The storm was starting to subside. He raced through the muddy farmyard to the neighboring farm, where Farmer Agnes lived. He meowed and scratched at her door until the kindly woman came out. Recognizing Silas's cat and seeing his frantic state, she knew something was wrong. Marmalade led her back to the barn, straight to the haystack and the trapped door. With a bit of effort, Farmer Agnes managed to pry the door open from the outside. A cheer erupted from below as light flooded the stairwell. Silas and the animals were safe. That night, back in the cozy cafe, Marmalade was hailed as a hero. He was given an extra-large portion of salmon pâté and a comfortable new cushion right by the fireplace. Farmer Agnes was sworn to secrecy and soon became a welcome guest at the Root Cellar Cafe, often bringing freshly baked apple pies to share. The secret was now shared by one more person, making their hidden community even stronger. From that day on, Marmalade wasn't just the sly cat who watched from the shadows. He was Marmalade, the hero of the Root Cellar Cafe, the brave guardian, and the farmer's most trusted friend. And as he curled up on his cushion, listening to the happy chatter and the clinking of teacups, he knew he had found something far more valuable than any treasure: a place to belong. And that was the best secret of all.